Hi, I'm Bob Murray, and we're here at the Greater Philadelphia Expo for 2011. And I have a good friend and fishing buddy, Lou Consoli from SkippyFISH with me. Lou, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It's not that you really invited me. I kind of just imposed, I think it was.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. Lou, there's a number of things we can talk about, but I think I want to stick with your fishing prowess and how you started SkippyFISH.
You know, it's a bait that we came out with. I didn't even sell it, but it's something that we made a mold for back in like 1995. And fishing tournaments, I was looking for a topwater fluke style bait. And over the last really 5-6 years, it's been pretty popular. There's a couple brands that were out at the time, more like a stick type bait. Mm-hmm. And when I designed that bait, it was something where I wanted to have a real long tail to it, or something that had a lot of action compared to what some of them were on the market. And so this little tail that we put on it, a little bit of the fin to it, adds a little bit of weight. When you're jerking that thing and twitching it through the water over grass beds and lily pads, it's kind of designed like a bass boat. It's got a little V-hole design. The back is flat. And when you're twitching it through the water, it doesn't roll. So it doesn't twist the line. It switches through the water, cuts through it real nice. Looks like a bait fish trying to kind of get away from something that's gonna attack it or eat it. But that tail is just awesome, because even if you throw it out there and if you're just using it like on a swim bait type hook and you reel it back, the way that the tail is designed, it stands vertical, so it has a swimming action when you bring it through. And so for about 10 years, I just poured a bunch of them and used them on tour, and liked it. And so many guys said, "What is that thing? Can I try it?" And I gave so many of them out. And 2006, it was something where I lost so much money giving them out, I didn't have enough for myself.
So you want to try to at least get some money back?
Yeah, I figured it might be a good thing and have a go at it. So anyway, we started to design we had a 4-inch, a 6-inch. We just came out with a 2-inch size, and we have 23 different colors. So it works real well. And what was neat is guys were using it many different ways all around the country. Mm-hmm. So I used it just on like a 3-aught or a 4-aught hook on a 6-inch, maybe a 2 or a 3-aught on this 4-inch size. Mm-hmm. And when I was using the bait, it worked real well the way that I only threw it, and it was just topwater. But guys are drop shotting them. They're Texas rigging them, Carolina rigging them. In saltwater, it was a blessing because we had a pretty good crossover for it. So when guys are fishing for redfish, they'll use like our little baby bass color, and it does great in Florida. It imitates a little white bait that they have, kills redfish. Mike and I, your producer and camera guy, we went down and filmed some commercials down on Lake Toho last year and caught some huge bass with them. And had
like 9 pounds or something?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And we also went over to Port St. Lucia on the other side near Tampa area, and we were trying to film for saltwater, and that's when we were catching some redfish. But we got on a school of skipjack, man, and they were going crazy. And Mike was going nuts because I'm like, "Mike, throw the camera over here. We got a good action here." We were just hitting so many of them on the boat that he was going crazy. But we had a good time. And anytime we go out and do any kind of filming, or when you and I do a show, right. I try to be serious, man, but I like to have fun and play around and
one of the things,
good time.
On the serious side, I fished with you. This man can skip a bait, and that's why it's called SkippyFISH.
Right.
If you understand what skipping is, it is unbelievable. I've seen him skip a piece, a structure 6-8 feet under it with no trouble. Myself, I get about 2 inches, and that's a really important part of this thing, because you can put a bait someplace where a lot of people can't, especially this bait.
Yeah, and you know what? Not only me, but I found that if you're using this on a spinning outfit, like you're going to use, say, a 6 or 6.5 foot medium or medium heavy rod, 8-pound test. I mean, you could throw 6 on it, but 8-pound, 10-pound test on a spinning reel. The way that you skip that thing, it takes a little bit of practice, but anybody really can do it. It's like when you skip a rock across the water and just shoots out, skips 5 or 6 times. The deal with that is you want to imitate bait fish busting on the water. So if fish are a little bit lethargic, they're just cruising around a little bit, maybe they're not hitting baits, they're not real hungry, you catch their attention with this thing, man. When you skip that thing on the water and it shoots 6, 7, 8, 10 times, like you said, when we were skipping them under low-hanging branches, you can get back in those areas. And that's the thing, no matter where you fish around the country, there's always great structure. Always boat docks on most of the lakes. So you can launch this thing in those shady spots, 10 foot back, right near the pilings, and just bring that thing through. And if they go on your website and see some of the video we did last year with you, we were shooting them things, you and I, underneath those branches. And those overhanging branches might be out in the water 10 feet. So you have some shallow water back there, some grass, all them bait fish, the little panfish, bluegills, things like that, they get up in there. So when you shoot this back, it causes a lot of commotion. They look right away. You twitch it real quick, cause a little bit of disturbance on the water. They're looking up and wondering what the heck just dropped in the water. Was it a mouse, a frog? Is it what I'm looking for? Is it something right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so then when you start retrieving that back and it starts darting through the water and that tail starts spitting up, and they can't resist it. I mean, it's like enticing to them. And they bang it. Mm-hmm. That color right there we just came out with. We actually got in, we were up in Worcester, Mass. last weekend and sold a bunch of those things. It's a watermelon flash. It's something that I did last fall. I was fishing them up at Lake Champlain on our BASS tournament. Mm-hmm. And that's a watermelon back with a clear belly. And we got hologram flake in there, and there's strips of hologram flake. And when the light hits that thing, it's like a rainbow. It's like when you see a diamond and you get all those rainbow effects. Mm-hmm. It's cool. That causes a lot of disturbance on the water just because of the design of it, but the flash that reflects off of that. Also,
that's another aspect.
We were pulling smallmouth 2 and 3 pounders out of 35 foot of water on Champlain. That water's clear. Mm-hmm. And that one rig, if you ever see our video, the Deuces Wild rig, we had that written up in Bass Angler Magazine last month. They did a story on myself and that rig. And like here at the show, we were drawing a lot of guys over at the tank doing the seminars that we do. And it's beautiful. Man, I describe it. It's like the way that I rigged that thing, if you go on YouTube and look for Deuces Wild rig, it's like Cirque du Soleil, man. You hook up 2 of these things on one line, you're catching 2 fish at a time. And these fish just dance. They're sexy. They just move around, do their thing. And then when you're twitching it back and forth, it looks like one's chasing the other.
And that'll
it's just awesome. And in the tank, man, they just beat the heck out of it. It's nice.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I've used these. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
And I mean, if you like fishing flukes, you got to step up and go with these because
good bait. You know, there's a lot of great product on the market, no doubt. But that's just a little bit different than the flukes that are out there now. And it's just got a lot of action to it. It's easy. I mean, a kid can throw it out there, and if they just reeled it back, it's got enough action where they're going to catch fish.
All right. As with anything in fishing, you got to keep innovating and changing and developing. You got 3 cool baits that you brought over to show me here.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about this one right here. Now, what's this one?
Yeah, this is a whole new design. It's the same body style. It's to scale, basically, from our 4 and 6 inch. But it's these, by the way, when you're looking at this graph right here, this is what they call a runner or a sprue. When we make our molds, for instance, this cavity, it's an aluminum block, maybe 18 by 30 inches. It's on an injection machine, and 2 halves sandwiched together to complete the lure. And what ends up happening is this here is what they call the runner. The soft plastics get shot in there, and then it disperses out into the cavity. So this runner here, when we get them, we just pick the baits off and we package them. But this particular one right here is a rainbow trout color. And it might be a little bit tough to see on camera, but it imitates a rainbow trout.
You can point it there.
Give me this thing. This imitates a rainbow trout very well. It's going to be tough to see.
Yeah, there it is.
But you can kind of see it's got that little red effect to it. It's got some black flake with a watermelon back. This particular one here is called a Ghost Glow. This thing is awesome. We came out with it because a lot of saltwater anglers down in Florida, out west on the Jersey Shore, you can get, if you have a house on there, or you're renting a house, or they're just chilling out for the week over the summertime, you can get out on a dock or a pier, and at nighttime, what ends up happening is if you have light around the dock, around your boat, the bait fish come in, which attract the larger fish. This particular color right here, Ghost Glow, has a very, very fine powder green flake that charges with the light. Basically, it's like a glow stick. The kids, how they have them green necklaces that glow, you crack it, and but this thing here charges with the light. If you were to put darkness on this thing here, it would light up real green. So that's a cool color. And this size we came out with basically for the crappie and trout market.
Now that's about what size would you?
That's a 2-inch size. And this particular one right here is a golden shiner, or I'm sorry, a gizzard shad. It's got that body style. You see that little tail, man?
Look at that.
That thing makes me want to jump through the screen and kill that thing. But that is awesome. And, you know, we're going to package them on this little 16th-ounce jig head, okay? And that's a golden shiner right there. It's got some gold flake. It's a little tough to see, but you can see them out on our website.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's different about this body design than that is that in the 4 and 6 inch, we put a little slit down the belly so that when you're putting an offset hook in there, kind of hides the hook, makes a tight profile. With this one here, because it's so small, we found that most guys are going to use this on a jig head.
Open.
So what we did is we made the body completely solid. So it's just going to be a nice profile. For the crappie and trout markets, they're huge. Being in PA here, trout guys are going to go crazy for something like that.
Now, talking to you, you're going to bring these out in larger sizes too, though, right?
Yeah, we have them in this 2-inch right now. We have a 4 and a 6. At some point, we'd like to come out with a 3-inch because that 3-inch is just so sweet for drop shot, and it's just awesome. And eventually, we're going to do like an 8 or a 9-inch because we get a lot of emails from guys that want to go out and catch some big stripers on the Delaware. They want to go out to the flats and catch them. Lake Texoma is a great lake that's on the Oklahoma-Texas border above Dallas, and they have a huge striper population there. But also for the saltwater guys, you know, that go out there and catch some larger saltwater fish. The 6-inch works decent, but they're saying 8 and 9, muskies, pike. I mean, these big, aggressive game fish anglers are looking for something like that.
Well, like what makes me interested in the fact that you have a lot of professional fishermen that are asking you for certain items, which means it's working.
Yeah, it does. You know, 3 weeks ago, there was 2 elite pros on the Bassmaster Elite Series. They're no longer on it. They're trying to requalify like everybody else. But Glenn DeLong is out of Ohio, and Jay Fuller is a full-time guide down on Texoma in Texas. They both made the Bassmasters Classic in 2008 and were elite anglers for a couple years. And we signed those guys a few weeks ago to come on board with us and represent us. So Jay's fishing the Bassmasters Open Series, all 3 of the divisions, and Glenn's fishing the FLW Tour. So what's nice about that is, one, they're great anglers. Those guys got a good stick and they can fish real well. But they also have a decent profile because they're at the top of their game. And so it brings a little bit more branding and awareness to our product line. But I can tell you that there are a lot of anglers out there that are competing at that high level that use our bait, and obviously can't say anything about it, but they do like it. And it's good. And, you know, we're a small company. We don't have a huge budget, so guys don't really see us in all the major magazines with big page ads and so forth. But, you know, through social media and through our Facebook guys out there, and shout out to all you guys if you're watching. But, you know, those guys support us a lot, and we have a great relationship with tons of outdoor writers throughout the world. And, you know, we just signed a deal with Cabela's, so it gives our little tiny deal much bigger exposure and better distribution.
And you are, when I say local, you are in the Philadelphia area right here. So
yeah, this is my home base. I was from Lansdale. I'm in Perkiomenville is where I live. But, you know, this year is going to be a real full schedule for me. We're doing a seminar series for anybody out there that's listening. You know, there's a lot of seminars like what we do here, teaching guys different techniques for fishing, spinnerbaits, crankbaits, and so forth. We're going to do a seminar series actually teaching guys how to get sponsors. And not just product sponsors, but how to put money in their pocket. I can show guys within 30 days how to pay for their full season of fishing just at that club level. If they need a couple grand, you know, because of the tournament's expenses and stuff they go through, I'm going to show those guys how to do it. But it's a 9 to 5 course. It isn't for the weak and Miri. I mean, this is in-your-face stuff. It's not for the guy that's just looking for a little bit of information. This stuff is so valuable. It's information I've compiled over 20 years. We got some elite guys that are willing to open up the box a little bit and teach some of them guys how to approach sponsors. But it's an in-your-face deal. And Cabela's, we're going to be doing them at 12 of the stores around the country. So they're supporting us, and their corporate guys from their pro staff departments are actually going to sit in front of the guys, whether you're a club fisherman or whether you're a professional angler that's looking to get a little more competitive edge. We're actually bringing guys like my sponsors from Daiichi. Ron Stallings, the head pro staff manager there. He's going to be on tour with a lot of the locations we're doing. So you're not just hearing from an angler like myself and then being on the side of owning a company like SkippyFISH. I have so many guys that approach us through emails and phone calls that say, hey, man, I want to be sponsored. And I can tell you, Bob, and you've known this for being in the business a long time, about 95% of the guys, people are clueless on how to approach a potential sponsor.
Right.
And since I have some knowledge on the pro end and getting sponsors over the years and then owning companies and seeing what comes to my business, we're bringing the top guns in our industry. So they're not hearing from me. They're hearing from guys from major companies that eventually these guys can approach. But we're going to tell them exactly what they need to do.
And that information is a really almost priceless, because that
is, you know, and I had to really think about this hard, because, you know, it's so valuable. It's cost me thousands upon thousands of dollars and thousands of hours of man time over 20 years to really compile this, and I built a lot of good relationships, and I've convinced enough of these guys to give us a little secrets or a little bit tips, and they're not going to give you everything.
Right, no.
But one thing I can tell you is it's going to be huge. And if we got a website, we're almost finished with it now. It's called fishingforsponsors.com, fishing4sponsors.com. All the tour dates will be up next week on there, so people can go on. It's not finished yet, but it'll give people a little flavor of what it's about. But it's in your face. If someone's serious about it from a club level or up, they're going to have information that is totally valuable. And it's not just a one-time deal. That info, they're going to be able to use that all the way. In fact, 2 little plugs. in that, I'm going to show guys how they can get $25,000 worth of advertising for free, just on a couple little tips and tricks. And I'm going to show them how to build a marketing kit. And by the way, guys, a resume, you need it, but it's kind of useless. Don't worry about necessarily the resume. There are other things that these marketing guys at these companies are looking for, and I'm going to give them that information and walk them along the way so that they can understand the sales cycle and what they need to do to market themselves, whether at this level or they're all the way up here. But it's something that's going to be really good. But I thought about it hard, and, all that information that I have, I'm willing to put it out there. There's a little price to it. But it'll be a 9 to 5 thing. We're going to have a lunch for everybody catered. It's going to be a cool thing. When they walk out of there, their mind will be blown.
And they will go to that website.
Yeah, they'll go to fishingforsponsors.com, and that'll be a little link to our site. We'll eventually get it up on SkippyFISH.com. But it's just great to share, and it's something that's going to work real well for them.
I hope, because a lot of, I mean, you and I have been in the business a long time, but you have the guys that I fished, I want to get sponsorship. Well, here's a way to learn how to do it, because there is a technique, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not, oh, look, I caught a fish. Can I have all this tackle, and you're going to pay me lots of money, and that ain't going to work.
And here's the other thing that is unique to that format. Let's just say we draw 20, 30, 50 guys. It'll be a max of 50 because we don't want to bring in any more than that.
Right.
But what's great about that is, it's almost like an American Idol concept is how I'm thinking of it. Is, let's say we do a dozen seminars and we got 20 to 50 guys in each seminar all around the country, right? There's a lot of good sticks out there, a lot of good anglers. And there's a lot of guys that have talent that can go more, but they do need that financial backing and that support, which is key. There's only a few guys that can survive off tournament winnings. The other is marketing, promotion, and we know that.
Right.
But, it's almost a grooming process. If I got a top guy from Cabela's there, or True Turn Hooks, or an elite angler that's tied into many of the sponsors that are going to help us out, or like Plano Tackle Boxes, or other companies outside of our industry, it's that grooming process. We're going to bring people through a step-by-step process. And at the end of a seminar, everybody's going to have that opportunity to be able to get sponsors. But there may be a handful of guys out there that catch the attention of one of these pro staff managers at a major corporation that we're bringing in. And it's a grooming process. We can bring them along the way. They don't have to dive into something. They can be in a situation where we can hold their hand, and they're not just hearing from me. You can't toot your own horn. It's tough to give myself credibility. It's easier for someone else to give me credibility. But when you're hearing from a top guy, say at Cabela's, he's telling you exactly what he expects and what he needs. So what better information than myself?
Right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, I can give you both perspectives, from the tournament fishing side and what the demands are and what the requirements are and what they need to do.
Right.
And then from the business owner part, I get guys that are saying to me, hey, can you sponsor me?
Right.
And so I see both sides of it. So I think that information's valuable, and it really has never been developed before. It's kind of in its... it's kind of a new concept.
Yeah, well, I know it's needed, because there's a lot of guys out there that are kind of floundering, and there are good fishermen, but they're not. They don't have that business sense like you do, because you're in the business, and so that would get them up there.
Yeah, or else they're talented on both ends, but this really gives them the ABCs of the total business end of fishing. Forget about fishing spinnerbaits, crankbaits. You can learn how to do that stuff. Right. That's not what's going to get you to the top. But getting and building relationships with these companies and knowing exactly what you need to do and things to say, creating interest and closing people. It's interesting. If you're selling a $4 or $5 pack of baits, and down the way here, I mean, they got some beautiful boats out here.
Right.
They got some $40, $50, $60,000 rigs, and they got them for $15,000 with a 90-horse glass boat, Stratus. I mean, tricked out, real cool. But when you're doing when you're promoting a sponsor's product or something like a SkippyFISH, the sales presentation, the sales process is exactly the same for a $4 bait to a $60,000 boat. However, the sales cycle, the time frame or timeline of maybe closing that deal is much longer. So the sales cycle is similar, and we have a step-by-step process in doing that. So it's not different. It just takes a little bit longer to close a sale like that than it is a $2, $3 product. But it's the same info, and it's very important.
Well, look, if you want more information, you can go to SkippyFISH.com and email you, and you can go to our website, Delaware Valley Outdoors, and we can go back, because I know you and I go back and forth. Again, SkippyFISH, the new products. You got to check Lou out. Lou, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. And they can go to Facebook too if they need to hit us up. We can link it. We're not done this thing, are we?
The cycle is going. Anyway, We're out
No,
here at the show, and especially I want to talk about this because we're going to ask a couple of the pros here to help us. We have our Best of Show award coming out. We're going to go through here and find out what's the best products that are out. Come on out and see us. We're still here Thursday or Saturday and Sunday. Been here so long.
it's going to be packed tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
But come on out and see us. Come on out and see Lou. He has a booth here. Talk to him, pick his brain. He'll be help you. Hey, I'm Bob Murray.